Welcome. I'm Max, and this is Ollivander's Game Shop, where we have fun, make friends, and build hype for Hogwarts Legacy. Now, today we'll be talking about a different Magic game, a game that I feel like is going to be fantastic, a game that I feel like story mode might change the way that 2022 starts out, a game that might be a top contender next year for Game of the Year. Forspoken. Now, if you haven't seen Forspoken, there's a brand new trailer out that was presented at the Game Awards, and there's an old trailer out that came out maybe like 6, 7 months ago. But today in the video, we'll be covering those two trailers and going over some of the magic systems and some of the magic abilities that I've seen in the trailers. Now, let's hop into it. Play my intro, man. Now, the first ability we're going to go over is this shield like ability, where you see the main character being attacked by the enemies, and a shield just pushes them back, like almighty push. It's kind of similar to her next move right here, where you see her snap her fingers, and one of the bosses are going to attack her. But wherever they hit, a shield appears. It still seems to knock her back, but it doesn't look like it's doing any damage, just stun. The next ability that we see the main character turn invisible. Now, this might also have to do with the pre-order cloak that you get. I'm not really positive. I also believe that this also means that there will be stealthy ways that we can play the game, that everything doesn't have to be head on attacks. Maybe we can sneak, get stealth kills, and maybe get extra points for it. Now, the next abilities that we'll be covering are the movement abilities. Now, whenever she uses her movement abilities, her feet usually glows up yellow or blue. I think blue has to do with the hovering, and yellow has to do with her increasing her speed. There also seems to be a way to get around via a surfboard or snowboard that seems to be made of ice. You'll see it in the clip right here. I don't see this as a movement ability to use in battle. I think this is just the same equivalence of like a horse in Red Dead, just to get around the land faster and better. Which also could mean that maybe this map is going to be a whole lot bigger than we're expecting. Next, you'll see her using a grappling hook. I've also seen her use this grappling hook to grab mid-air, like right there. I'm not really sure if you can just grab whatever you want, or maybe it did hit the house and I just couldn't see it as well. But from what I can tell, she has grabbed mid-air, grabbed walls, and also grabbed creatures when she's using this grappling hook. She's used it to get around quicker and also used it in battle to pull people in. Now we're going to talk about this wall that she conjures, usually to land on when she's in midair. From what I can tell, it might also be that hovering ability that I was talking about earlier. The only two times I've really seen it was in that clip and in this one. And in this clip, we see her using her speed ability, where her feet usually turns yellow. She's usually doing some kind of parkour in this when she's using this ability. Usually getting to high terrain or getting to high ground, jumping around in battle, usually maybe even running away. Now we see her using an ice ability, which is kinda, to me, it resembles an ice bow and arrow. And with this ability, I also believe that you can hold the trigger or you can release it, just tap it to depending on what you want to do. From there, we see her use a fire sword ability, where she jumps into the air and lands on the ground, and either a bunch of sparks come out of the ground or a bunch of spikes that's made of fire comes out of the ground. Also, you'll see her use the ability again, but instead of jumping into the air, she is just swinging the sword and hitting the enemies. In this next clip, we'll see another bow and arrow type, but instead of it seeming to be ice, it seems to be electricity. And when she hits the target, she jumps and shoots the arrow, hits the target, and when she lands, it seems like the electricity explodes, is shocking all the other enemies around. Now we seen her use an earth ability, which is kind of like an earth trap. She shoots the ground and seeming like whenever the enemies run up to it, it explodes with molten lava. You can also see her using another earth ability in the next clip where she makes an earth spike and shoots it at the enemy. Here is one more earth ability where it seems like she gets the rocks off the ground and shoots them like a Gatling gun. Also, it seems that if you hold it long enough that it will fire a larger one shot, but it maybe resets when you can use that ability again. The next ability we see seems to be a water trap where she can detonate it whenever she wants, or maybe there's a time limit to how long they stay trapped into it. But she jumps into the air and captures her enemies in water, and then the water explodes. Now, in this clip, you can see where I was saying that she uses the grappling hook to pull the enemies in. Then she also uses the sword to cut them and also jump into the air, and we see a different slam attack than we've seen before. Instead of it making sparks, it seems like it shoots a pillar of flame forward, knocking the enemies back. And in the last clip, we see her suck her enemies in with water like a black hole, and then either explodes them and freezes them or just freezes them. And that was all the abilities that I've seen in Forspoken. Now, leave a comment down below if you've seen any more abilities. Also, leave a like and subscribe. And if you like this kind of content, keep coming back. I'll be bringing you more details on Forspoken. Now, we're closed, man. Get out.
Here we go.